Hello everyone, I am back and in significantly better physical condition than I was for last week's video, although coincidentally I'm still wearing the same shirt. Once again, this video is a little bit later in the week than I was planning on doing it, but thankfully that ended up working out well, because yesterday the big announcement came out that the new Star Wars cast had been announced, and there was one thing that was missing from it, namely women. Now, taking a look at the new cast, it appears that there are only going to be two predominant women in the movie. Carrie Fisher, who plays Leia, obviously, and then another woman who looks like she's going to be playing Leia and Han Solo's daughter. But beyond that, that's it. There's no other prominent females in the movie. And people are asking, why did this happen? Is this a problem? Should we not care? And I wanted to give my 2 cents on it. Is this a problem with the new movie? Yes. Maybe not for the reason that you're thinking that it is. I don't believe that anybody should be forced into writing just for the sake of diversity, just because people want minorities or women in movies. I don't think that that's a case. However, I do think that if writers aren't just organically doing this themselves already, they're not very good writers. Now, I don't know who exactly did the writing for this movie. I haven't looked up the writers and their backgrounds, but I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess and think that it was written by mostly white men. And it's kind of funny that guys who are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to write blockbuster movies and things that are supposed to entertain people can't seem to grasp writing for any other characters that aren't what they're familiar with. Isn't that kind of their job? Now, it's a completely different thing if we're talking about, say, the American military in the 1960s, or some sort of background where the female race has died off, or they're in incredibly small numbers, or they're oppressed some way or the other by the society that they're in. But that's not the case in the Star Wars universe. Women have held military positions of all kind, very, very high positions of power, so one would think to believe that there would be a larger amount of women in adventures, like in the Star Wars movies, I guess you can't call it a trilogy anymore, than there are, but they're just not, and that leads to an imbalance of characters in the movies. Now, you may be saying to yourself, hey, Paul, what's the big deal if there are only a couple girls in this movie? They can have a movie however they want it to be done. That's true, but if you're looking at it from a money-making perspective, they're basically ignoring 51% of the population. Last time I checked, girls like Star Wars too, and just like guys who want to emulate characters in the movies, women want to emulate characters too, and they don't always want to emulate the doting housewife or the mom or the chambermaid. They want to emulate somebody who has a position of power, and by putting a female in a position of power, which you've already established that you can do in your universe, you're going to appeal to those women. You know what, it amazes me that after all this time, this is still a problem in not only movies, but especially comic books, the realm I operate in, that people just leave so much money on the table, and so much the better, I suppose, for the people who decide to actually write strong female characters and pick that money up. I mean, you take a look at somebody like Joss Whedon, wrote The Avengers, wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Firefly, just a ton of incredibly strong female characters in those properties, and those properties are absolutely beloved. So if you can have the, I guess, common sense to write strong female characters in your stories, then you're going to pick up a lot of money. Now, I don't want to necessarily give anything away about my upcoming titles, especially Stake Center, which we're working on right now, but there may or may not be quite a few strong female characters in that. So I'm trying really hard to... You see, the problem is when people think you're trying to write diversely, they think that you're trying to shoehorn something in organically that you wouldn't think of otherwise, when in reality, at least when I write stuff, I take a look at a story and I say, well, how many... My cat, everybody. How many people would be female in this situation and who would be involved with these people, and what would that be like? And then I try and write accordingly, and for the stories that I'm writing, there's no reason for females not to be in a position of power or in in a protagonist position or an antagonist position. So basically, to sum everything up, Star Wars, 2 girls, a whole lot of money left on the table, and a whole lot of disappointed fans. Maybe we'll get lucky with Episode 8, huh? VA Comics News time! This Saturday, May 3rd, is Free Comic Book Day, a holiday for geeks the world over, and VA Comics is going to be partaking as well. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of print stock to give away right now, but if you head over to our site, www.va-comics.com, link in the description below, you will find that all VA Comics titles are free on Free Comic Book Day. So today's Hero Issue 1, Stake Center Issue 0 are going to be free. Go ahead, download a digital copy. It's DRM free. Give it to all of your friends. If you like it, maybe just, show it to a friend or two and follow us on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook, let us know how you like things. Progress for Stake Center Issue 1 is coming along well. We're about a quarter of the way through the book in the pencilings, and it looks like we're still on to make our Memorial Day deadline, so all is going well here. Alright everybody, that's going to wrap it up for me this week. Be sure to hit the little thumbs up button down there, like this video, and subscribe so I can get an idea of how you guys are enjoying this. Be sure to leave some comments too if you want to add into the whole Star Wars discussion, or if you want any specific subjects you would like me to talk about in further episodes. Like I said, I'm going to do about one of these every week. Again, head on over to va-comics.com for all stuff going on there. We have news updates on a fairly regular basis, and if anything new comes up in the shop, it's going to appear there first. Thank you so much for giving me your time, and I will see you next week.